was going to say, like, some people with so much talent just don't make it. And then that's
Yeah,
just so, it's so hard.
I
There's so
know.
many factors.
And so many people that I've known who are so much more talented than me, so much more beautiful than me, so much more everything than me, um, never make it. And it's just mind-boggling. It's like, what did they not do, or what didn't happen that made that? But I think it's mostly like not hanging in there long enough. I think
That
if you
makes a
just
lot
hang
of
in there
sense.
long enough, you will eventually make it. I have one friend who worked in Mistress of the Dark. She played the little old lady. She finally made it in her career when she was, I think, 82. She'd been an actress all her life, and finally started getting big commercials and movies when she was 82. And she
Wow.
made a ton of money, bought a fabulous house in Florida, of course, and retired. But okay,
Wow.
no, I'm not saying wait till you're 82, but still, she kept going, and it finally happened.
I'm just like, wow. Do you think Hollywood in that sense has changed? Like, even in, like, are there more parts for women now? Like, that old saying, like, okay, when you're 40, that's it, you're dead, like that old, like, that's changed now.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh yeah.
where do you
Oh,
think that is now? Or is there still a long way to come?
there's still a long way to come, but I think it's getting much better. I think, really, when in the early 70s, when you were a woman and you were 30, you were done. You were done. I write about that quite a bit in my book. It was just like, don't even bother showing up. Um, but nowadays, I think there could be a lot more parts for older women, but there are some really great parts for women out there. That, I mean, I see Frankie and Grace. I mean, I love seeing Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin in that. It's so great. But also parts for trans people, parts for Latinos, Asians, Black people. There really are getting to be more and more parts, and that makes me so happy. I mean, I think the 70s was white men worked in movies and TV, and that was about it, and some young girls.
Grace and Frankie is brilliant.
Isn't that? I love it so much. I
It's
love it.
such a good show. Speaking of trends, like, do you watch like Pose? Like, did you watch Pose or anything like that?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched some of Pose. And I mean, there's been actually trans characters on so many different shows recently, and they had a habit of hiring straight people to play trans people. Now they're finally, a lot of shows, not everyone, is hiring trans people to play a trans character. Duh.
Right.
So yeah, it's taking time, but it's heading in the right direction.
That's kind of how I think too. I think it's heading in the right direction. Right. They are hiring like trans to play trans. Right. You're like, what a novel concept. Like,
Yeah, wow.
right. Like, duh. Other than Halloween, do you have a favorite holiday?
I don't know Halloween. I probably really like Christmas. I like Christmas. Christmas was a big deal in my family when I was growing up. Not as big as Halloween was, but it was a big deal. All my relatives came from everywhere, and I really like decorating. I love Christmas music. Yeah,
It's kind of
I guess that
festive.
would be my second favorite holiday.
Do you have any, like, I personally hate New Year's Eve. Like, do you have any holidays you just don't like?
I We are twins. I'm exactly like you. I freaking hate New Year's Eve. It's always a big, huge disappointment. I always drink too much champagne, which I do not like anyway, and get sick the next day because of all the sugar.
And there's
And
no,
it's
it's
always a
like,
disappointment.
and you can't really drive around. I mean, I live in New York, but it's not safe on the roads. And it's
Oh,
like
no.
going out is
In
a pain
LA,
in the
there's no way you
ass.
could get to a restaurant. In LA, you could not get in a place. You could not get in a restaurant. Just going 10 miles to somebody's house for dinner is dangerous. You might never make it back because some drunk will run into you, and kill you. And
I'm
probably
like,
yourself they'll run into. But yeah, I hate it. There's just nothing to do. I think I've stayed home for New Year's for the last 10 years or something.
before COVID, I was out of the country. Like, I haven't been in the country for a New Year's in forever. And I've been in a lot of places that don't really care that it's New Year's. So it was kind of like just another night in, like,
I want to move
Bangkok or
there.
wherever. Yeah. I mean, like, they kind of have a moment of New Year's, but it's not a big thing. It's like you go to dinner in the hotel and there's like streamers. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
fine. This is exactly how to do it. But Yeah, it's not my thing.
No, me neither. I just make like the last few years, just make like black eyed peas and some collard greens and drink a little bit of champagne and stay home and watch some good movie on TV. That's about it.
And go
Yeah.
to bed.
Totally.
Do you like any of like the new horror movies, like the like franchise, like Halloween? Like we had Halloween Ends, now we're gonna have Halloween Kills. Like the new Scream is coming out. Like, what are the new horror movies of the past few years? Like, do you get into any of the new ones?
Ah, God, I don't know. I mean, I'm really like an old horror movie aficionado or horror movies that have a little comedy in them. I mean, like what they do in the Shadows or Shaun of the Dead or something with a little humor mixed in. I'm not such a big fan of like a lot of them. I must say I did like The Witch. I love that. That's not that new anymore. And a few of them that have a lot more diversity in it. Get Out, for example, which is a while ago now too. But I like the fact that now it's becoming more diverse and a little more interesting. So I'm really happy to hear about that. I enjoyed those kind of movies.
Get Out was amazing. Yes.
Wasn't it? I loved it. I just freaking loved that movie. And I guess they're doing Get Out too, or they did. I don't know.
I think they're doing Get
I'm
Out too.
I'm not knowing about my horror movies. My brain has turned to mush as far as horror movies go. They all meld into one big gigantic horror movie.
My memory is not what it was myself.
Yeah,
if you start asking me about years that something happened, it's like you're talking another language. I'm like, I think it was 2012.
Yeah, writing my autobiography was like, what year was that? But I had to, it was so hard. I had to research it and everything. Find a picture that might have had the year written on it. No, I can't remember that stuff anymore.
That's so hard. Is there a part of the entertainment business that you still want to try? I mean, you've kind of done everything. I mean, now you're an author, you own a holiday.
I have a few things that I really, really would like to do. One would be a documentary of my book. Two would be a possible, what would you call it? A mini series? I don't know, like maybe a 6-part biopic, of the book, kind of my life. And then another one that I have an absolute dream of doing, that I've had this forever and I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but I'm going to do it. And that is a Broadway play of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I mean, kind of like a cross between Rocky Horror Picture Show and Hairspray, but of the movie Mistress of the Dark. Wouldn't that be fun? And a musical.
Do you see my mouth is like dropping open? I can see this. Look, they had Beetlejuice.
So fun. Yeah. I saw Beetlejuice, by the way, on Broadway. It was awesome. But I think it would make such a great play. And I think it very close to kind of like a Hairspray kind of feel, or Legally Blonde, when Legally Blonde was a play, which I thought was fantastic, by the way.
It was amazing. I could see this. I mean, I really could see. There's and like the costumes, there's so much you can do with it, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be really great. And the music, like I said, a little Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe,
Maybe now that we're putting it out there into the world, a Broadway producer will say, "Hey, I see some money in this," and then they'll call you.
Yeah. Let's hope. You already have been predicting the future, so
listen. I'm just here to help you out, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Is there anyone, like Cyndi Lauper's written like music for a lot of like Broadway plays, and like Bryan Adams now? Like, is there anyone off the top of your head that you'd want to write the music? Like, if they were going to go that route and try to pick someone.
Mark Shaman, and I'm blanking on his name. Oh my God, they did Hairspray. Mark Shaman.
Harvey Fierstein?
No, you mean writing it?
Writing it, or
I feel so bad that I can't remember his name. How horrible. But they are the best. I think they're the funniest music lyricists, songwriters, if I could remember his partner's name. Oh God, how embarrassing. But yes, they did Hairspray, and I would love them. They're so great. This
could happen. I'm putting it out there.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like you see a lot of Broadway too. Like when you're in New York, there's a lot of